Okay, I think we can begin. Okay, thank you everyone for being with us today. Let me just share my screen. Let me just hold on. Okay, so if you can see the screen, I'll just share with you some of the Zoom house rules and etiquette. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. And I am Gina Evangelista. I am a member of Carewell, and I volunteer to help out in the many activities of Carewell, one of which is today's webinar. So just some reminders for everyone before we begin. Let's keep the background noise to a minimum and mute our microphones throughout the duration of the webinar. And in order for you to focus on the webinar better, kindly turn off notifications, minimize or close running apps, and mute your devices. Kindly refrain from taking photos or videos, as some of the material that will be presented are proprietary. And we'd love to hear from you. So please use the chat function and type your questions in the chat box and send to everyone. The host will acknowledge and read your question. Please respect all attendees. If you have any questions or want to say something, please use the chat function and your question will be acknowledged by the host and will be addressed accordingly. We will try to accommodate all questions and our guests will try to answer as much as they can. So before we begin the webinar proper, we would like to invite you all to a short prayer. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this webinar. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to open our minds, and help enlighten us to receive new and meaningful information. Thank you for allowing the people in this webinar to share their knowledge, time, and resources so we may all benefit from it. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So now we would like to introduce someone who has been sharing her time and resources. When we first asked her to be part of this webinar, I didn't need to ask her twice. So she immediately said yes, because she said she wanted to help in whatever way she can. So here with us to be our moderator is my friend, Angel Jacob. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you very much, Gina, and belated happy birthday. It was Miss Gina Evangelista's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday. Thank you for celebrating with us. Even if your birthday was yesterday, you're with us today. Thank you so much. And speaking of being with us, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for making time to join us today, and welcome to the Cancer Resource and Wellness Community Foundation's Lay Forum on Lymphoma. Again, I'm Angel Jacob. How is everyone feeling today? As Gina said, we will use our chat box, which is located on the right side of your screen for any of your questions, for how you feel today, or anything that you would like to share. If you're not feeling chatty just yet, it's okay. You may send us an emoji and we will acknowledge that as well. Thank you very much in advance. In the Cancer Awareness Calendar, there are so many events that we commemorate in September. We have Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, Gynecological Cancer, Ovarian, Prostate, Thyroid, Leukemia, Lymphoma Awareness Month. And today, September 15, is World Lymphoma Awareness Day. So it is apt that today's forum focuses on lymphoma. What is it exactly? And what differentiates it from other blood cancers? To start things off, I'd like to call on Carewell's Managing Director to give us a few words on Carewell and today's activities. Let's all welcome Oliver Calasanz.
Hi, thank you, Angel. Welcome to everyone. Thank you for attending the Carewell Forum and choosing to spend your time with us. Okay. For those who are attending Carewell, a Carewell activity for the first time, excuse me, my bandwidth is low, so I'll have to turn off my video. Okay, there, better. For those who are attending a Carewell activity for the first time, allow me to give you a quick background on what Carewell is. The Cancer Resource and Wellness Community Foundation, or CareWell for short, was founded in 2005 by the late Dr. Jessica Jackie Fernandez Santay and her husband, Robert Santay. Modeled after the wellness community in Massachusetts, CareWell provides psychosocial support for persons affected by cancer, completely free of charge. Having experienced firsthand the benefits of wellness and emotional support activities at the wellness community in the US, Bobbitt and Jackie wanted to recreate that same experience so that it could be shared with others going through their own cancer journey here in the Philippines. Our mission in CareWell is to provide education, support, and hope to all persons affected by cancer, be they the patients, their caregivers, and their loved ones. This forum is part of CareWell's continuous effort to reach out to those affected by cancer, most especially during this pandemic where quarantine restrictions have tried everyone's patience and mental fortitude. In keeping with the symbiotic relationship of patient and their healthcare team, our speakers represent various facets of a patient's journey towards healing and wellness. We hope you come away from today with something new and useful for your daily life. But before we begin, allow me to acknowledge the support of Takeda Healthcare Philippines Incorporated, whose help has made this event a reality. And with that, I turn you over back to Angel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oliver, and good afternoon. Now we get on to the main part of our program, understanding lymphoma. Is lymphoma a blood disorder? What triggers lymphoma? And who is most at risk? Unlike breast cancer, the likelihood of knowing a breast cancer survivor or patient is high. This isn't exactly the case with lymphoma. Although not entirely considered a rare cancer, its incidence rate is comparatively low versus the more prevalent cases such as breast, lung, colon cancer, among others. Lymphoma currently ranks number 11 in terms of incidence in the Philippines. And here to shed some light on this type of cancer is our main speaker. He's a frequent guest in lectures and forums organized by CareWell. A fellow of the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology and the Philippine College of Physicians. He attained his medical degree at the De La Salle University College of Medicine and specialized in clinical medicine at the University of the Philippines, Manila. He's affiliated with the Medical Center of Taguig and South City Medical Center in Bacoor, Cavite, and maintains a clinic in UniHealth Parañaque Hospital and Medical Center and at the Dasmariñas City Medical Center. Despite his hospital and clinic schedule, he also finds time to write or co-author research papers and present these in different forums both here and abroad. He is with us today to provide a starter course on lymphoma. Dear guests, let's all welcome Dr. Jaime Enrique Hilado.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for the kind introduction. So I'm Dr. Hilado. I'm an oncologist and would like to discuss about lymphomas for today. So just some disclosures. I work in a clinical trial industry, focusing on solid malignancies, lymphomas and leukemias. And I used to work for a pharmaceutical company. So just an outline of my discussions, some definitions, risk factors, what patients feel when they have these lumps, how do we diagnose lymphomas and what we do, and how we can help patients with lymphoma. So just a brief introduction, our lymphatic system is the system that transports lymph in our body. And what is lymph? It's clear fluid. It's parang tubig that contains white blood cells. It comes from the drainage of fluid from the blood. So if that leaking out fluid, it has to go back to our blood. So that's brought to the bloodstream through the lymph. And it's filtered at lymph nodes. So the lymph nodes are usually seen in the areas that you see a dark green on the picture on the right. So you kapa them in the ears, sa may chin, sa armpit, sa kilikili, and sa groin area. And that's where bacteria are removed from the lymph before they return to the blood. And what's cancer? It's uncontrolled division of cells in the body. So they just keep growing, dami lang sila ng dami, which causes them to grow. And usually it's caused by mutations. And in a normal cell, if they detect a mutation, usually they should die through apoptosis, a process wherein they have to stop growing. But cancer cells, on the other hand, are able to divide continuously. And usually, it's not just one mutation, it's maraming mutations lumping together before a cancer can form. So lymphoma, as we alluded to earlier, is cancer of the lymph nodes, and it's 11th most common cancer in the Philippines. After breast, lung, and colorectal, which are the top 3 based on GloboCan 2020 data. So it's not just one disease. There are many types of lymphomas. For simplicity for today's talk, I will be just focusing on maybe Hodgkin's, which is around 10% of lymphomas in the Philippines, and the B-cell lymphomas, which are more common in our clinics. So just the 3 most common kinds we see in practice will be DLBCL, which is quite aggressive, usually seen in the 60-year-old age group. Although I do have patients that are much younger. My most recent one is a 38-year-old policeman. In remission now, but he's my youngest in the last 2 years. Follicular lymphomas are usually slow growing, so they're much more benign. And usually age 60 as well. For Hodgkin lymphoma, on the other hand, usually 2 groups of patients, the quite young and the quite old. So risk factors would be age, as we alluded to earlier. There are age groups where we see lymphomas more. For gender, usually more men than women. Family history, if we see someone in the family with a lymphoma, then that increases the risk of the relatives to have a lymphoma as well. Previous cancer treatment, so prior chemotherapy, can increase risk for lymphomas in the future. Same for radiation and some viruses. So HIV, for example, can cause certain kinds of lymphoma. So signs and symptoms, the most common presenting symptom would be enlarged lymph nodes. As you see here, a lymph node in the neck or wherever, in the armpits, the kilikili, or in the groin, in the singit, that can be enlarged. Other signs and symptoms would be fever, weight loss, sweating, even if it's cold, chills, and fatigue. Patients are parang parating pagod. But of course, not all lumps are lymphoma. So they can be infectious in origin or probably TB. Because here in the Philippines, of course, TB is quite common. So earlier today, I had a patient, post had lymphoma already before. We had to admit because of a lump on the neck, on the chin. It disappeared on its own. So most likely infection lang. So hopefully, most of these lumps are not lymphomas. Of course, to make sure, we have to do a biopsy. So we take a small bit of the tissue of the specimen, send it to the laboratory. They'll do some tests, some stains, and we look at them to the microscope to make sure if it is a lymphoma and what kind of it. So once we're sure that it's a lymphoma through biopsy, then we have to stage it. And it's quite simple for lymphomas, 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, the more lymph nodes involved, the higher the stage. And there's, of course, A and B. So if it's 1A, for example, there's no symptoms, no weight loss, no fever, no night sweats. But if it's 1B, for example, then you have one of these symptoms there. So just a breather slide. And now talking about treatment. So to treat patients with lymphoma, we need a team of doctors, a team of experts in the different fields. Not just us oncologists will need help from our surgery colleagues. Of course, pathology is very important. Given we know that there's a lot of different kinds, we usually talk to our pathology colleagues to ask them to make sure that what kind it is, because treatments will differ depending on the type of lymphoma. Of course, radiation oncology, we might need radiation for our patients. Then, of course, the nurses and our educators to help guide their patients through the process, and other specialties. But all of us work hand in hand to make sure that the patients get the best treatment possible in all treatment settings. So treatment options. For some kinds of lymphoma, you can always just wait and see if it further progresses or grows. These are for the relatively benign lesions, relatively indolent lesions. For some kinds, you can give steroids. But for the most common ones, the aggressive ones especially, then we give chemotherapy. There's also options of targeted therapy, immunotherapy, and radiotherapy. So we'll go through these options one by one. So chemotherapy is given something through the vein. Usually we have these options for patients. And the goal here is, of course, to shrink the tumor and, if possible, get rid of it altogether. Just some side effects. Of course, hopefully these are temporary. So sometimes patients get fatigue, some temporary lowering of blood counts. If you hear about mababa yung WBC, or mababa yung hemoglobin, or mababa yung platelet, that can be caused by chemotherapy. There's a risk for infection. Nausea and vomiting, not so much. We have very good treatments now to prevent nausea and vomiting in our patients. Hair loss is quite common. But of course, we see here our creativity of the patients. The wigs, the scarves, and all of that come out. And it's nice to see patients having fun with their hair replacements while on treatment. Some loss of appetite, which we can also help through medications as well. And some diarrhea, although not very common with chemotherapy nowadays. So all of these are very temporary and very manageable. In my practice, not a big issue for patients. Once they see, yes, the tumors are shrinking, all of these don't become much of an issue for them anymore. So for targeted therapy, these are drugs that are used for certain receptors in a cancer cell. So just think of it as a lock in a cancer cell. If you have that certain lock, then we can give certain treatments to fit that lock. So these drugs are rituximab, obinutuzumab, brentuximab, and all of these other options. So for radiotherapy, it's using radiation to shrink the tumors themselves. It works on specific areas of the body. So for example, there's one lymph node left on the neck. If you only need that to be targeted, then you can use radiotherapy, compared to chemotherapy, which is whole body, buong katawan. Radiotherapy is focused on one certain area. And of course, there's immunotherapy, quite new in medicine and in oncology. A very active field of research nowadays, of course. And it's using our immune system, our T cells, to recognize the lymphoma cells and destroy them moving forward. Then, of course, we have CAR T-cell therapy, also using our own T cells. This time, we take it out of the body, we insert instructions into those T cells, and then infuse them back to the patients for them to destroy the lymphoma cells. Also very new, and we're also very active field of research. And of course, your stem cell transplant. Given the side effects of chemotherapy, we can move around that through using SCT, stem cell transplant, so that patients are able to recover from the side effects of chemotherapy much, much sooner. So we're able to give more treatments, more aggressive treatments for these patients. Okay. And as friends of patients with lymphomas or as family members, how can we help them? Of course, if they have side effects, let us know, of course, so that we can address them. Sometimes they're afraid or shy to tell people about side effects, which we can resolve them with treatment. So, as I don't know, a text message to the doctor or the secretary, or at least we know, na okay, there's something you have to address. Nutrition, of course, encourage them to eat. For a while, they'll feel weak, walang gana kumain, but hopefully we can encourage them to eat so they get stronger faster. Encourage follow-up. Some patients tinatamad to follow up. If you can encourage them to do so. And if they have new symptoms, of course, please do let us know. Other treatments we can give, aside from the active treatments, of course, symptomatic treatments, pain control. If patients complain of pain, of course, we have to address that. We, of course, try to aim for quality of life for all of our patients. Nutrition support, if they can't eat too much, we can offer them supplements to make sure that they get the right nutrition. If they need transfusions, we suggest that as well. Emotional support, very important, especially now on lockdowns and level 4, from what I understand. And spiritual care, of course. Let's not forget the holistic care of the patient, even if they have cancer. And for specialists in the Philippines, we have a lot. So we have societies, different societies, which you can approach if you need support or have questions. So we have the PSMO, the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology, which I'm part of, and the PSO, the Philippine Society of Oncologists. We also have the PCS, the Philippine Cancer Society, the SOSP, the Surgical Oncology Society of the Philippines, and the Philippine Radiation Oncology Society. So all of these we have in the Philippines to support our patients with lymphoma. And other sources of information. So I do know we have a lot of data on the internet. So if ever patients would like to get more data from the internet, I would recommend these two societies. ASCO is in the US and ESMO is in Europe. These are the two largest cancer organizations in the world. So ASCO is American Society of Clinical Oncology, and ESMO is European Society of Medical Oncology. So they're trusted sources of data that we can look into. And of course, we do have local support groups. Of course, one of them is CareWell. We have lectures like these. We can arrange for consults if needed, one-on-ones and counseling if necessary for these patients. Okay, so I think we'll take questions towards the end of the talk. Thank you everyone for your attention and passing it on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hilado. I have a couple of questions, but I will reserve them para mamaya, together with all those who will be asking their questions. Please feel free to make use of our chat box and type in your questions for Dr. Hilado. As I've mentioned, he'll answer them in a little while. Thank you very much. Now that we've heard the medical side of lymphoma, our next speaker will present the human face of lymphoma. Carina Villegas, or Dr. Carina Villegas, is no stranger to CareWell. Doc Carina was diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2007, making her one of CareWell's pioneer members. A trained nurse, practicing dentist, and mother, Carina had plans to move abroad, But cancer happened. Despite the many health challenges Dr. Carina faced, she credits her positive outlook and deep faith to her medical team for having pulled her through this journey. Declared cancer-free in 2008, Dr. Carina has since resumed her dental practice and is happy to share her story of hope, faith, and trust with all of us today. Let's all give a warm virtual welcome to Dr. Carina Villegas.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Carina Villegas, 55, married for almost 29 years, also a survivor, a stroke survivor of 5 years. We're blessed with 2 daughters, aged 28 and 24 with Down syndrome, and a son, 21 years old. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 2, nodular sclerosing type, with a 6 cm tumor on the aorta. Way back, later part of 2006, I experienced fatigue, flu-like symptoms, unproductive cough that is not relieved by any medication. Also an itchiness that is deep within, no lotions or creams or anti-allergy drugs is really vital. So I thought this was just, I was just stressed because during that time I was having my review for my nursing board exam for the States. But when my fingernails started turning bluish black and falling off, that was a red flag, you know. I immediately sought consult to a doctor friend of ours who ordered a chest x-ray and started giving me TB drugs. Again, referred to an internal med who ordered a chest CT, and again to a pulmonologist who told me it was a toss between TB and cancer. Meantime, my husband and I were among the core group planning an upcoming elementary high school reunion. Uy, wala pang Facebook noon, Friendster pa lang. So one of my classmates referred me to a thoracovascular surgeon in lung center who took a needle biopsy that didn't yield any conclusive results. So I went to Hong Kong, not for consult or treatment, but to do away with my nursing exams. And I promised God I will deal with it as soon as I arrive. So a series of referrals from my classmates, I think 3 or 4 more doctors. I settled for this one from PGH, a doctor from PGH, who suggested another biopsy. This time, a big chunk of the tumor will be removed for a final diagnosis. But unfortunately, again, it didn't yield any conclusive result. There was another test to be done. I was so disappointed. I was at the brink of breakdown. In the meantime, a classmate of mine in nursing, who is a medical technologist, has a friend, a pathologist by the name of Dr. Tan Liu, who looked into it, who looked into my specimens, reviewed it again, and with NKTI, and was very pivotal in knowing my final diagnosis. Ganun pala po, no, pag sinabi sa inyo ng doktor na cancer ang sakit mo, parang sinaklubang ka ng mundo. No? It's as if, it's a death sentence. I was grieving, I was mourning, parang I was in denial. My son then was only 7 years old. So I keep asking why. Wala namang makasagot. No? So but deep inside me, I have this hope na was born out of my faith na maybe, I was just in my early 40s. It is only stage 2. Maybe I could make it. So sabi ko na, Lord, bahala ka na. Ikaw nang bahala. So that was it. So it's as if a burden was lifted sa chest ko when I said that. In the meantime, Romel, our classmate in elementary, he was the one who referred us through her sister, who is a pulmonologist at Veterans Memorial, is where, who knows an oncologist That is where I had my chemo. I was supposed to have 12 cycles, but it was cut in half because I responded very well. From my 6 cm tumor, it became 4 cm just with 2 cycles of chemo. That was from July to September of that year. And December was my radiation sessions, 25 sessions of radiation. Kasabay ko pa si Rudy Fernandez. So we had a big Christmas party then with a lot of celebrities. And also through Romel, my classmate, he chanced upon Carewell, where we went to Makati. We met up with Bobbitt and Jane and was introduced to these different activities of Carewell. They have yoga classes, they have plenty of activities, seminars, even free consults from Singaporean oncologists from Parkway, and a lot of activities. So this is where I found my refuge, my sanctuary, because we share the same, concerns and frustrations and fears, but at the same time, we share the same, joys and laughter when we have gathering, syempre. We have on special occasion. Hindi ba walang bagnet or lechon, so everybody is having fun. No, did you ever imagine through Carewell, I became a fashion model for a night? No, there was this fundraising event of UP fraternity where I became a participant. It's composed of real models, some doctors. We even had 1 day free tutorial on how to do the walk. I donned on this flowing white gown. I felt beautiful. I felt pampered, it was really fun. And it was also through Carewell that my husband and I made it into the cover of the Inquirer magazine way back 2008. Ito po, pakita ko. This was the cover of the magazine. We were in the cover of the magazine. And that was fun. No? With the support of my husband, who was there all along through my radiation and radiation and chemo sessions, my classmates who gave their ayuda, my parents, my in-laws, my siblings, who gave all the support they have, plus my Carewell family. What more can I ask for? Currently, I'm working as a dentist at Healthway Medical, SM North, the block. And for the past 13 years, I've been cancer-free. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carina. So lovely to meet you. So inspiring to hear your story. Wow. You look so healthy, well, and full of life and energetic. Ang saya lang. Not losing faith, Carina. That's a very big virtue or trait to have, na hindi mawala ng pag-asa. Madaling mawala ng pag-asa. And I'm sure our audience, our guests, have questions for you as well. So kindly just type them in our chat box, gaya ng the questions that you have for Dr. Hilado. We will compile them and then we will ask our speakers to answer them accordingly. Gusto ko yung sinabi mong hindi bawal ang bagnet. So pwede mag-bagnet. You said to have fun and to feel good. Okay. Sa Carewell, walang bawal. According to Gina, walang bawal. Okay, that's great. So wala ring bawal sa questions that our dear guests are going to pose this afternoon. Let me check kung meron na tayong questions. Maybe we can also invite Dr. Hilado already. Doc?
Yes po.
Ayan, Doc. While we're waiting for the questions, welcome back.
Yes,
Okay.
okay.
Yes, while we're waiting for the questions, Doc, Carina, with the permission of Carina, the sweat and lumps and other symptoms or manifestations of lymphoma can be mistaken for something else. Can you enlighten us kung ano yung pwedeng ma-mistake for lymphoma. Yun pala, like for example, sweating or like the lumps or other symptoms. Dr. Cado, please.
The most common in the Philippines, TB. I've had a lot of referrals from other doctors saying na ito mukhang lymphoma, but if you work it up, it's TB pala.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it's important to get a biopsy of the specimen. Kasi nga, if it's TB, then of course we don't give chemotherapy. Definitely not. It's gonna worsen everything. So the most common in the Philippines, TB.
So ilang araw, Doc, before we do a consult? Kasi minsan, di ba, parang lalo na ngayong pandemic, siguro mawawala lang to in 2 days or 3 days. Gagaling na ako. Hindi na masyadong obvious. Baka mababa lang yung immune system ko. May lump lang. So what's your
Especially
recommendation?
if it's enlarging, lalo na, then we think it's urgent. But it be seen right away. Like my other patient, the one I just saw kaninang morning, it was parang 2 weeks ago when she started feeling something. And
Okay.
through online consults lang lahat. Meron ba talaga? Meron. Then okay, ultrasound, admit diretso. Kasi nga, I was aggressive kasi she was a previous lymphoma patient. And
Okay.
I was worried about recurrence for her.
Okay.
Nawala naman eventually, but yun nga, especially if there's doubt, as soon as possible.
Thank you, Doc. Doc Carina, we have a question for you from Maria Teresa Respicio. Doc Carina, ano
Yes.
yung mga healthy lifestyle na ginawa mo after your cancer?
Healthy to start with before, nag-exercise na ako. Tapos, parang tinuloy ko lang. I've been working out. More of veggie kasi ako I don't eat masyadong karne and fish. Pero I had cancer, so tinuloy ko lang yon. So, not more of the canned goods and yung food talaga rin. So more of the greens and exercise and of course yung state of mind mo, your outlook in life, that really helps. And support group, malaking bagay yun.
What type of exercise, Doc Carina?
Before yung panahon namin, aerobics. Nakakalala tayong edad eh.
Okay. Sa'yo yun.
Nakakalala tayong edad.
Talaga.
Awesome yung stationary biking or even dancing para masaya, di ba?
Yeah. Basta gumalaw-galaw lang.
Oo, basta yung move lang, tapos mapawis ka. Diba?
Do you cook, Doc Carina?
What?
Do you cook?
Yeah, I do. If you can cook your own food, better. So
Okay.
yun, inside it, no? Hindi ka maglalagay ng mga preservatives.
Lalo na ngayon, no, na, we're faced with this pandemic. We can do our meal plan, pwede tayo magluto sa bahay, we can ask for the help of our family members and make it a family bonding moment na, magluto at salo-salo when we cook each member's favorite food.
Yeah.
Alam ko favorite food mo, Doc, eh. Anyway, yun na nga yung magnet. Anyway, Doc Carina.
Minsan lang.
Minsan lang. Of course, once in a while. Tama naman. For Doc Carina, again, from Agnes Villaruz, what is more challenging for you? Having lymphoma, accepting the diagnosis, anxiety, chemotherapy, psychological effects, or effects on your family? Maraming salamat, Doc.
Ang dami nun
Oo nga.
Yung pag-accept yung first, I didn't wallow in that state. Yung grieving, of course, dumaan ka sa stages of grieving. But as I said dun sa talk ko, there was my hope and faith in God. So medyo doon, mabilis lang. But I remember my first chemo, yun yung very memorable kasi I was so much in pain, parang pinadal the whole body. Ang analogy ko nun is as if every fiber of your body was threaded through. Parang to get small because of the pain, you want to hide and melt away. Ganun yung klase ng sakit. But after yung aking chemo, my body got used to it. So, kaya naman. Tapos, slowly, natatanggap mo na. Yung acceptance kasi dapat mauna rin talaga. So, if you gave it up to the Lord, bahala ka na. So, ikaw, okay ka na. Actually, yung significant others mo ang mas namumroblema kaysa sa'yo. Kasi ikaw natanggap mo na, Tapos, yun lang yung attitude mo and yung pananaw mo na, bahala siya. Okay, ako, kung mabuhay or kung mawala, bahala din. I mean, nag-resign ka na sa kanya. So, and of course, your healthy lifestyle, syempre, ibalik mo. And kung meron kang nagagawa before na parating kang you're stressed, you try to make ways na parang hindi ka ma-stress, mag-relax ka and find somebody or a group that you can go to.
Na-mention mo rin, no, Doc Carina, yung effects on your family. Yun din yung tanong. Kung kayo resigned na, how did you explain to your family na, alam nyo, ito yung sitwasyon, ito yung nararamdaman ko. I wish the same for all of you sa pamilya na maintindihan nyo rin how I feel.
Nung time kasi nung nagkasakit ako, medyo mga bata pa yung anak ko eh. Yung youngest ko nga was only 7 years old. So, more of yung husband ko ang burden siguro siya ang na-stress. No? So, because we have the support of yung barkada niya, was a great help kasi they gave help talaga as in financially and emotionally support, pati yung family. Kaya somehow that eased the burden.
Thank you, Doc Carina. We'll get back to you in a while. Dr. Hilado, we have a question. You mentioned in your slide about follicular lymphoma. Is that the same as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? This is from Gina Evangelista.
It's a subtype of non-Hodgkin. Kasi non-Hodgkin is there are a lot of different types. It's one subtype of non-Hodgkin.
Doc?
Yes. That's it.
Okay. Okay, we have a follow-up to that. Can lymphoma develop into or contribute to thyroid cancer?
Okay. There can be lymphomas in the thyroid. That's different from a thyroid cancer per se. The thyroid cells yung cancer. But the treatments to lymphoma can be a risk factor for thyroid cancer. So like example, the radiation to the neck, kunyari nandito yung lymphoma, so may radiation doon. The radiation can be a risk factor for the thyroid cancer to develop.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. And please keep those questions coming. We shall call on Dr. Hilado and Dr. Carina Villegas a little later on, but now we proceed with our program. All right. COVID-19 caused massive disruption in our lives. We all experienced loss in some shape or form. Loss of employment, financial security, loss of loved ones or friends, or even losing control. Our next speaker will help us put all of this into perspective. Suzanne Marie Rojas is a licensed psychologist who has been providing counseling and life and career coaching and other psychological services for over 10 years. She has been affiliated with various non-government organizations, primarily working with young adults. She's skilled in managing mental health issues due to trauma and productivity in the workplace. Susie has been invited to present scholarly papers on well-being in the workplace, both in Singapore and India. She attained her master's degree in psychology, major in clinical psychology from the De La Salle University. And my script reads, Animo 2, OBF 0. Now, using our chat box, send us. You can send us a blue heart, a green heart, a yellow heart, a maroon heart, a red heart, a white heart. Send us hearts. Send us love. Okay. And speaking of sending us love, we send love, or let's give some love to Susie Rojas to discuss what we have learned most out of COVID-19. Hi, Susie.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I know it's a tough time, but as it all comes around, right? It's really what you want to do with your life, and recognizing that we are always in control. 1 minute, let me just grab out my slides a bit. 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute. There we go. So here we are sitting at home, getting extremely stressed, and we're feeling that life is not getting anywhere, right? And so we're thinking, maybe I should be more productive with my life. I should be doing more things. My work isn't as fulfilling as before. How about all these things that I used to do, even helping out with a lot of volunteer work, and all of a sudden I'm sidelined to be at home. Am I being less productive? Am I not fulfilling my life plan, right? And therefore, if that were the case, is it possible that I can be doing much more than I was doing before? And those are important questions because they talk about our well-being. And what is well-being exactly? Is it a function of having everything go the way we want it to go? Or maybe it's a function of being able to travel when we want to, use our money when we want to, be in line with how all our friends are as we see them on Facebook. And we find out that it is not so, because how is it that a monk who has nothing in his life has better well-being than some extremely rich people? How is it that nuns and even our drivers and professors and teachers who are not making as much money as those in the corporate sector are, and yet somehow they seem happier, more fulfilled, more energetic, and it's like life is bouncing out of them? The reason for that is that well-being, by definition, is broader than what we think it is. Well-being well-being does not mean that we are not sick or we are or feeling unwell. Instead, well-being is about experiencing health, satisfaction, and being completely engaged with life. That feeling of getting up in the morning, having the zest for life, wanting to do something more with our lives, that is what well-being is. So in the summation of life, in the summation of the concept of well-being, we're looking at many elements. We're talking about, are we physically well? Do we feel well? Tummy not hurting, teeth not hurting, stomachs are full? Are we in good relationships with the people whom we love? Do we have relationships with our children? Our parents, have we slighted them in any way that caused them any harm? Do we have good relationships with our spouses? Are we able to talk to them, share our lives with them, be totally honest with them? How about our career? Are we maximized in our career? Whether we be a career person working in a big company or having a career at home in terms of caring for our children, or even from a work at home position, doing your own business, are you maximizing your skills, talents, and potentials in the avenue or in the profession that you had chosen? Profession is defined as a place by which and wherein you are maximizing your talents and skills by doing something. Financial, do we have enough money to cover our expenses, have a good life, be able to sleep, be able to eat on time? Not necessarily having millions and billions in the bank, but really just enough to sustain what we need in our daily living. Spiritual means, do we have a way of looking at life and looking at a creator or an author of life that manifests us to be a better human being? Is our vision and values and way of life aligned to the meaningfulness or how we define our lives? So that is spirituality. Emotionality is not always being happy, meaning you are well if you're always happy. No, it's not that way. Emotional well-being means being able to sit with both negative and positive emotions, reel them in, be aware of them, understand them, and use them and direct them towards the directions where we want our lives to be. And if you look at that definition, therefore, if it is not about money only, and not about job security, and certainly not about what the government can bring to you, well then, is it possible to control or have control over our well-being? What actions, thoughts, and behaviors which are under our control can we use towards being emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, and relationally well? The findings are incredible in these journal articles because scientists like me like to read about life and like to see how people, even if they have difficult times during this pandemic, are somehow blossoming and thriving and even becoming better. What is it about their mindset, what they have learned, how they are thinking, and how they are comporting themselves that make them well and enthusiastic and thriving in life? So these are the insights from all these journal articles that I've been reading. I'd like to share them with you. First is, being with others is the key to happiness. Being to others means being vulnerable to them, sharing a bond with them, and being able to be authentic with them. It is not about the number of likes on Facebook, the number of comments on the pictures you spend, and the number of happy posts a person has in Facebook. That is a measure of his happiness or measure of how we can become more happy. Why is that? Because when we post on Facebook, we are posting a part of ourselves which we are proud of. But what we need to do is to have an authentic and vulnerable reach to other people, and so that they get to know us more and be able to connect with more depth to us. And so when we do this, apparently, when we connect to them, even through a phone call or a Viber message particular to them, or take the time to do a chat with them, allowing ourselves to express love and affection towards others, in the end, make us happier as well. And not only that, it allows us to look at another perspective in life that we have never had before. So when I think about COVID as a medical practitioner, to see and understand COVID from the perspective of a child, of a 9-year-old child, or for someone who is an OFW, enriches my practice and enriches my mindset on what other thoughts, beliefs, and challenges these people have, and teaches me as well ways wherein I can be more resilient. The second is, apparently, reducing stress is actually very good for all of us. Before COVID, everybody was rushing to be always busy, which means their crown of success is how many projects they are working on at the same time and how many events they're invited to and parties that they are invited to in order to show that they are well loved and that the stress is that it is good stress and that they are energetic in their lives. The learning, though, is that we need time to recharge. Recharging is good for our bodies and our brains because recharging allows our body to dial down, sleep better, and in this sleep, we are allowed to ruminate and process the things that happen in our day, therefore making us more reflective, making the learnings we had during the day sink in better, and have allowed us to manage our stress and therefore become more balanced in our lives. Ways that reduce stress, which apparently have been so successful, the readings show, are hobbies, simple hobbies as bottle painting, or as taking care of a pet, or cooking. These little activities apparently, when we do them, create a way to relax our bodies and be more creative and touch within ourselves a sense of individuality and uniqueness that is important to whom we are and what we can offer the world. And so cooking is not only a way to nourish food or nourish our bodies, but cooking is a hobby that generates a calmness of spirit and a way of being creative in the different facets of our life. And it uses our talents as well. The next thing we learned, the scientists have learned about in this pandemic is being kind creates a sense of wealth. Apparently, when people choose to give from what they have, that little sardine can from your pantry, giving it to someone else, the last few pesos you have in your wallet that you had designated for a Starbucks, we give it to someone, to a child who was begging on the doorstep. Or taking time to listen to someone whose post seemed a bit morose and not, let's say, not taking your siesta and in fact using that time to listen to that person generates a sense of wealth, which means that somehow if we feel we have something to give and we feel we can extend something, the mind believes that therefore we are not as impoverished as we think we are. And hence, therefore, the more we are able to generate that kind of gratuity to someone else, and therefore create more positive impact in that person's life and create an impact in our lives by thinking that we are not as destitute as we thought we were. Another finding was apparently showing gratitude matters. being grateful to people, paying kindness forward, doing thoughtful gestures, being nice over tipping service workers. These activities bring goodwill. And it encourages, not only does it bring goodwill, but it encourages other people who witness the event or witness the kindness to be kind themselves. If I look at the Filipino psychology, this is where the thought process of utang na loob comes from. That when we give a service to another, we help out another, immediately a bond forms between those two people, and the bond is that much more difficult to break because we are in gratitude all the time to the person who has helped us out. And so that gratitude becomes like a social glue, a glue that keeps relationships going and leads to a more compassionate society. This is very true. We thought we always had to buy the newest bag, nice sneakers, the best food, the nicest shoes, or take additional classes and work all the time in order to survive. And yet we have proven in the year and a half that we actually need less stuff than we think, that our food, water, and good health is all we need in order to be happy and survive. And so we might as well rethink, right, our priorities and use the money we save from not shopping to help others survive, especially those whose incomes are far less than what is needed for daily survival. Kindness and generosity makes us happier than pampering ourselves with unnecessary stuff. And finally, the sciences have said that there are problems in the world that cannot be solved by ourselves alone. And the biggest magnitudinal challenges the world faces cannot be done by one country, one race, or one age group. Instead, it needs cooperation and collaboration. Big issues like hunger, prejudice, discrimination, theft, and the coronavirus shows that all people, nations, governments, scientists must clamor together to form a group using and building on each other's competencies and strengths, knowledge and know-how and experience to come out with something significant, wherein the whole world benefits. So in totality, it is not things that we need, apparently. It is not competition, not stress, not being on top of the hill, definitely not the new car, not comparing or keeping up with the Joneses. It is, in fact, collaborating, being grateful, being kind, showing generosity, having the fullness of heart and believing that other people are willing to do well as well, and reaching out in vulnerability, authenticity, and in our uniqueness that gets us out of the quandaries or challenges in life and makes us feel productive, rich with well-being. So it's not money, it's not up to government, it's not up to job tenure, it's not up to the next business we have. The solutions to COVID are within us, and the solutions to happiness are within us, and how we live our lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susie, for all the gentle reminders to keep our mental health in check, and that of our family as well. As a clinical psychologist, may I ask for your personal feeling, or on a personal note, what is the biggest lesson of COVID-19 for you?
That there will always be someone to help carry my load. I do not have to do it all on my own. And therefore, I can rest, and rest is good.
You speak of rest. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Susie. You speak of rest. Sleep also, no? Sleep is also very important. Sinasabi nga nila, pag hindi na natin nabawi yung tulog for that particular day, we can't make bawi the next day kasi that's lost sleep already. So sleep is also very important in contributing to a healthy body, mind, and spirit.
Creativity as well, and thinking. The quality of thinking improves.
Okay, it takes practice. Sometimes it's easier said than done, but if you do it every day and you remember Susie's gentle reminders, then, you know, we will all get through this. We are in this together. As your last slide said, we are stronger together when we act together. And let's all support each other. Togetherness. As Gina in our chat box. So I mentioned the chat box. If you have questions for Susie and questions also for Dr. Rina and Dr. Hilado, please feel free to again type them in the chat box. I'd like to invite Dr. Hilado and Dr. Carina Villegas once again to join us with Susie. Okay, how about, this is for Susie from Agnes Villaruz. How about prevention of suicide, especially among the youth?
There is an increase in suicide. And let me explain a bit why it could be the youth more, right? Because the older people already have done much of their lives. Matatapos na kasi. So in terms of career, we know if you're 50, just a few more years and you're done, right? You already probably have your house, you already have your finances. The youth, on the other hand, let's say in the 20s or 30s, the challenge is that the vista for their lives have been dramatically changed. All of a sudden, they don't have the same rigor in their career path because of the impact. The financial stability of the economy impacts them for years to come. The political turmoil in the Philippines setting also impacts their businesses and their potentials to earn, as well as their family background. And so, because they are feeling victims of these situations and they see the impact of it from in terms of long term, they become desperate. So the movement, therefore, if the focus, therefore, is towards the things that they cannot control, and when we are anxious and stressed, we catastrophize, we magnify the challenges. All of a sudden, if you have, for example, 2 steaks in the freezer, all of a sudden, you're going to think, yes, but I don't have the rice, the chicken, the eggs, and therefore I'm going to starve in the next coming days. That is what catastrophizing does. So when you're nervous and anxious, you are worried, you are scared. So you realize that you are worried and you're scared. You take stock of where you are and control what you can control. Focus on what you can control. That is why, that is the way to handle these cases now. The reason for suicide, again, it is comorbid, and I'm sure the doctors will help me out. Comorbid with diseases like cancer, depression, and life-threatening other health issues.
Thank you very much, Susie, for enlightening us. And you mentioned the doctors, no? Dr. Hilado and Dr. Carina. Would you recommend working full-time, graveyard shift, when going through treatment? Let's start with Dr. Carina.
Oh,
You're,
please
you're
unmute.
mute.
Yeah.
Please unmute.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I believe when you're having your treatments, you're fatigued. I believe that, but you should take rest periods. You cannot do the full-time work. On my opinion, you take a lot of rest, because when you're on treatment, a lot of things are going in your body. That depends dun sa tao po kung how the body how tinitake ng body niya yung treatment, his reaction. For some kaya, for some talagang hindi kaya, nanghihina.
Okay.
But yung first lang na treatment ko on my chemo was yung talagang impact. But then yung series ng cycles, parang wala na, okay na. Naka-adjust na yung katawan. So if you're working as it is, kahit healthy ka, regular na tao, napapagod, paano pa kung if you're having your treatment?
Thank you, Dr. Carina. Dr. Hilado, would you like to
Yeah,
add
I
to that?
agree. Yeah, most of my patients will request for sick leaves during treatment, especially in the first few cycles, especially after the first few days of each treatment. They really feel weak. Also depending on the drugs that you're using. For some patients, if it's relatively mild treatment, baka kaya. I do have patients, although not lymphoma, but kunyari colorectal. Ito pedia officer. And nag-rage siya after chemotherapy.
Wow.
Yeah, when I see him, na-TV ako last night kasi nag-raid kami. So nag-rage siya ng nag-work siya talaga. But depends really on patients. But most of my patients will really request for leave kasi nga they really feel weak afterwards.
Thank you, Doc Hilado. To all our guests, to all our panelists, how does stress affect the body? Let's start with Susie.
I can answer it, but you know what? It's better for the doctor first, because we can start with the physiology. Then I
Okay.
can work on the mental.
Mental. Okay. Dr. Hilado, please, how does stress affect the body?
Well, madaming effects. Most of it negative. Well, if it's the good kind of stress, sana positive effect. But if it's too much stress, then it's the negative kind of stress. It's too much cortisol, the stress hormones, and all of that. So, the right kind, okay yun, can trigger good benefits, but too much of it, of course, we hope to avoid.
Ano yung right kind, Doc Hilado, na stress? Kasi di ba the word stress, parang, oh my God. Parang nega-agad yan.
Kunyari in work, kunyari, di ba?
Okay.
It motivates you to do better, kunyari, for work.
Okay.
Yeah, so sa akin yun yung good.
Okay. Okay. So parang you have the drive.
Yeah, it's like our motivation to do better, to improve, and all of that.
Okay. Okay. Dr. Carina, based on your experience, how did stress affect your body, and how did you deal with it and turn it into the good kind of stress?
Let me add pala dun sa sabi ni Doc na good kind of stress. I think that's the EU stress. EU stress ang tawag doon. It's the good kind. Parang when you're a performer, of course, there is some stress para, you can perform better, di ba? Pero pag mas relax ka, baka yung tono mo, the boses, medyo kumalig or like that, For me, kasi stress per se, it lowers down all your, di ba, yung immune system mo is affected. That is a fact already. So you're prone to a lot of kahit anong sakit, no? On my part, yung stress on my side, of course, a lot is going on. You have chemo treatments, sometimes financial, emotional. I believe nasa tao din yun eh. You have to have a different outlook. Kung hanggat maaari gawin mong positive yung negative, which is very difficult. Pero with practice, I believe talagang dapat i-motivate mo yung sarili mo, or from your self lang. Ako, during my chemo, I was watching comedy movies, Kung Fu Hustle, yung mga ganon, yung Shaolin Soccer. Pag nakikita ko lang yung movie, natatawa na ako. For that moment, for 2 hours, mahaba din yun, no? Tawa ka lang ng tawa. So, parang na-distress ka. Di ba? Parang nawala ka sa mundo. Di ba? That is how when you view a movie, parang nawala ka sa mundo, walang sakit, walang kahit ano, walang problema. So that's how I did it.
Thank you, Doc Carina. Now, Susie, na-mention ni Doc Carina yung financial, emotional, which were in your slides. Please enlighten us some more on how to deal with stress.
How to deal with it. All
Yeah,
right.
let's do how to deal with it, and then the good kind of stress.
So everyone was talking about eustress, which because if it's actually it is actually quite stressful if things are too easy for you. Boredom is stressful. When your capacity to do something is far more than the work that is given to you, that's stressful because it's boring. So stress is necessary to grow ourselves, and it is what keeps us pushing and edging towards doing more than we can. That the way to manage the stress or to get your head around it is just two main strategies. Either you control the environment or you can control yourself. Control the environment, control yourself. So control the environment is making sure you focus only on the things that you can work. Controlling yourself is making sure you focus on the things you can work on, and not catastrophizing and not making big things, making things bigger than it actually is. And managing the environment is, for example, having a routine so that you're not thrown off balance when you need to work. Doing things that you enjoy first rather than things that you don't enjoy. Working and doing things that you know you are good at first before doing things that you're not so sure about. Working and doing things that you really, really enjoy rather than doing tasks that you don't enjoy. Those are some samples of how to manage stress.
Only the things that we enjoy doing. It also simplifies our life. Lalo na now, no, COVID-19, we're at home. There's time to think. We have to make time to think about how our lives have been turning out, how to simplify our lives, how to simplify our thoughts. Even.
Reset, right? Reset.
Yes, this is a beautiful opportunity to reset. And what we don't have at the moment is something that we probably don't need.
Right?
I remember that song that's from YouTube. Bono, and I always have that in my head. What I don't have is what I don't need. Okay, and I will keep that in mind, and I will prevent myself from adding to cart because I do not need something that I already have.
So can you imagine? We were all running like in a rat race, right? Trying to accumulate all these things and all these adventures, only to find out, boom, we don't need them. So we stress ourselves out for nothing na naman all that time. Can you imagine the amount of wasted time that we could have spent with meaningful things, which will make us better in our well-being?
Mm-hmm. Now, I think also because of social media, we see people we follow from other countries who are having parties and, going out to the park and traveling. And, it makes us think, we're here, we're stuck here, we can't travel. But then again, what we don't have is what we don't need. It always goes back to that.
Right? right? You still have your internet. You still have friends. You still have food. You still have a face over your head, right? You still have family relationships. Aba, that's where we focus on, right?
Doon tayo, doon magiging healthy ang ating mental health and our relationships with those around us.
That's right.
What we cannot control, let it go.
Let it go.
Another question here. The question about working while treatment mentioned working night shift. Okay, yung sa night shift, does the time of rest also have an impact on body recovery? So if
time of rest.
Yeah, the time of rest also the impact on body recovery for those who work working night shift. Like what I've said earlier, no, yung babawi ka kasi you worked let's say from 10 to 5 a.m. and then babawiin mo yung tulog mo the rest of the day. What impact does that have on our body or on the body of this individual? Dr. Hilado?
Well, if it's a cancer patient on chemotherapy, I probably wouldn't recommend someone work the night shift.
Okay. Yung it's a nice story yung police na patient mo doon.
Rare yun.
I hope hindi siya night shift.
I didn't know he was working.
Pero may go signal na siya from you to...
Oh, hindi dapat.
Hindi ba dapat? Nako, okay. Okay, Carina, Doc Carina, rest and body recovery. Your thoughts on this?
Ako.
Hi. Okay. Unmute lang.
Unmute. So,
Yeah, thank you.
I think you have to go back to the basic. Yung sabi nga ng malona natin, dapat maaga matulog, di ba? And you know, mga kabataan yung ngayon, they are awake until the wee hours of the morning, di ba? Doon nanood ng Netflix, no? I mean,
Nagbi-binge watch.
Diba? Binge watch. And yung body clock natin, naiiba tuloy, yung biorhythm natin. So, dapat ibalik yun dapat regular hours of sleep talaga. Kung 8 hours sleep, and nasa tamang oras. Kaya ang mind mo rin, your mental health ng mga young ones, parang hilo din, di ba? Parang ang tawag nila, sabaw.
Sabaw na. Yeah, sabaw. Parang, hello.
Oo, tapos when they have breakfast, anong oras na? 1 o'clock or lunch na? Yung breakfast is lunch already. And, you know, pati yung eating patterns. Kaya health-wise, they don't eat the proper meals, di ba? So, parang domino effect yun eh. Kaya you have to go back to the basics.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for reminding us na kailangan natin matulog ng maaga at may bukas pa para tapusin ang topics. Yeah, at saka kasi if kulang tayo sa tulog, mainit din ulo natin. We're not able to function properly. If I may share, no, I wasn't an early riser. Pero ngayon, parang ang dami kong na-accomplish if I wake up early. I'm able to work out. I'm able to just sit down and do nothing and stare at the wall for a good number of minutes. Yung i-reset mo lang yung mind mo for the day. And which brings us to Susie. Again, mental health. Yung kulang sa tulog, recovery ng katawan pag kailangan niya. We should always listen to our bodies. Sasabihin ng katawan pag kailangan na magpahingay at kumain ng tama, mag-workout. Diba? Susie?
I was going to talk about the circadian cycle and melatonin. The body naturally wants to go to sleep at night. And it secretes melatonin so that the melatonin makes you sleepy. And therefore, by nature, the night shift or the graveyard shift is physically stressful to the body. And the recuperating doesn't work so much. Doesn't mean that you just add 8 more hours. Can you imagine if you lost 8 hours, that's 8 plus 8 the next day that you have to keep up with, right? That's it.
Thank you, Susie. If do we have more questions? Oh, from one of our guests, thank you for sending in this question. Having a hard time to get a really good night's sleep. Tips, please, or advice. I get 5 hours of sleep the most, and that's not very often. Sometimes 3 or 4 hours only. Susie.
So, okay. The thing is, everybody sleeps beside the cell phone, right? So that when the cell phone beeps, you answer the cell phone. The sciences have shown that even if you are resting and the cell phone rings about work, and you say, let me just grab the cell phone, read the message, answer quickly, and then put it away, the mere fact that you have thought about work re-enrolls you back into the workspace, and so your mind has not cut off. Ergo, you gotta put that cell phone aside. Second is the level of anxiety, the brain activity, the neurotransmitters, the brain activity and the brain chemistry, when it watches an anxious-filled TV show, is reactive. So, if we're going to watch Blacklist or what's the other one, or Game of Thrones before we sleep, our imagination is too high up already, and the stress and the anxiety from watching it is not relaxing. Ergo, watching more calming shows, listening to mood music, and hot tea is the way to go, because warm water relaxes the body. Meditation empties out the negative for the day, and taking a 30 minute and I think 3 hour break, 3 hour timeline before going to sleep allows the body to wind down.
Thank you, Susie. And check also what's beside your nightstand. If you have all your gadgets, computers, that means your mind is still on work mode. Let's try to eliminate the clutter that's by our nightstand. And, like the circadian rhythm. Others sleep with a sleep mask para talagang blackout, dark. So your body knows that it's time to rest, it's time to go to sleep.
So you cue up your body, right? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Susie. Okay.
I think a doctor wanted to
ask. Doc Hilado, yes, please.
If in
How
case
many hours do you sleep?
9.
Okay. Yes, Doc, please.
If you really can't sleep, we do have specialists for that. Because there are conditions that can cause people to sleep less. Like sleep apnea, for example. Makakailangan ng devices to help them sleep better. Okay. So yun lang. If it's really persistent.
And insomnia's DSM already, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh. Before I move on to the next question, Carina, how many hours of sleep do you get?
Me, 6 regulars, 5 or 6. Because I wake up early when I go to work. I need to cook for the day. So I get along with the 5 or 6 hours sleep.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks, Carina. And speaking of work, we have one question. For many people, not working the night shift is not possible. What can they do to mitigate? Doc Hilado.
If they really can't, maybe it's regularity. So that they can adjust their bodies accordingly. And if they're asleep in the morning, talagang maybe blackout curtains to simulate a nighttime environment. And sana it's cooler than the usual temperature. I know it's kind of warm, especially now. It helps you sleep better if it's cooler kasi.
All right. There's a certain temperature, no, Doc? Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a certain temperature that the room must have.
Parang I'm not sure what it is, but
Parang 18 degrees ba?
huwag naman dito.
Lamig na nun. Masyado malamig.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I prefer, of course, something cooler to sleep at night.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doc. And if we, according to some sources, our liver starts to restore cells at around 2 a.m. Doc Hilado, is this true? Regenerating of the liver is at 2 a.m.
Sure. Not very sure, but I can check later.
Okay, thank you for the question. They say, no, again, correct me if I'm wrong, if we sleep at 10 to 2, that's in relation to the question, that's when our bodies start to regenerate. And then 2 onwards, it's like light sleep already. So talagang kailangan yung 10 to 2, talagang deep, uninterrupted sleep.
I'll check.
Okay, thank you, Doc. All right. Okay. One more comment. A friend once told me to take melatonin tablet to help me in my sleep. Is that good advice?
Yes, it was related to, but I'm not sure of the dosing. Yeah, I just not so familiar with the dosing.
Okay. Okay. Maybe they can also consult their doctor as to the dosage of how much melatonin. Okay, and then from Leo Santos, Doc Hilado, can lymphoma develop into or contribute to thyroid cancer?
We answered that earlier already.
Just another reminder.
Yeah, we finished it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If we don't have any more questions, Doc Hilado, we go back to the liver regenerating.
Later siguro. I'll double
Okay, later. All right. Okay, to all our guests, dear guest, Dr. Hilado will either post it on our chat box or let me know when we have the info already. And one more question, will changing to a keto diet be an effective way in reducing the chances of lymphoma? Doc Hilado.
Keto is yun yung di ba? Mostly fat, if I'm not mistaken.
Fat, yes.
Not generally recommended overall.
Okay.
So, but we don't have much data on correlation of diet with lymphoma. But in general, I wouldn't probably recommend it to anyone.
Okay. All right, you heard it from our doctor. Not recommended. Doc Susie and Doc Carina, we have no more questions, but please, even after this session, if you still have questions for our good doctors and for Susie, kindly just type them into our chat box. Final message or gentle reminders from each of you. Let's start with Doc Carina.
To all who are having their cancer right now, mga survivors, basta buhay but survivor ka, of course. Diba? Sabi na, either kung remission ka for 5 years or what, just be positive, get all the support you need, and have faith in the Lord. Yun lang. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Doc Carina. Susie?
Well-being and happiness is in your hands. The COVID produces a lot of opportunities for you to take the chance to be completely and meaningfully happy.
Thank you. Thank you, Susie. As they say, Gina typed in our chat box, happiness is an inside job.
Yep.
Thanks, Gina, for the gentle reminder. Dr. Hilado, final message, please, para sa ating lahat, sa aming lahat.
Well, from a medical perspective, if you see any problems, don't check sa internet agad. Probably see
Dr. Google!
see one of us first, para at least we know what we're doing.
Salamat, Dr. Hilado, for reminding us na hindi doktor si Google. Maraming salamat, Doc Carina and Susie, for reminding us, for keeping our spirits high, and for sharing your time and energies and beautiful energy with all of us ngayong hapon. Maraming salamat. Thank you. All right, we move on. So far, we've learned the basics of lymphoma. We've met the courageous face of lymphoma. Then Susie discussed mental health issues brought about by the pandemic, how to cope, thrive, and deal with it. And one way to deal with it, aside from keeping our mind healthy, is keeping our bodies active, healthy, and strong, and with us to encourage and guide us to move our bodies. And sabi nga nila, galaw-galaw pag may time. Let's watch and learn and try to remember their moves. Let's all say hello to the Motion Fit team headed by Coach Tim Partosa. Hi, guys.
Hello, Ma'am Angel. Hello, guys. Good afternoon. Kumusta kayong lahat dyan? By the way, I'm Coach Tim. Together with my team, Team Motion Fit, andito po kami para po mag-present sa inyo para malaman niyo po ang importansya ng physical fitness and exercise in order to cope up with stress, in order for us to recover from our treatment. At kung may pinagdadaanan tayo ngayon na like while ago, pinag-usapan na is about mental stress, one way to release stress and to relieve stress is doing physical activity and exercise. So, before ako mag-present ng aming deck and slides, gusto ko lahat makita, gusto ko makita naka-video lahat para, kasi dapat, nasa last part na tayo, dapat gumalaw-galaw tayo. And papakilala ko ng team ko. So, I'm with Coach Pike, I'm with Coach Jaira, and Coach JP, that will help me to guide you guys in the proper exercise program. Pero before that, admin, can you please show our slides para makita naman ng ating mga viewers and guests ang ating presentation. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, admin. So, by the way, my presentation is named Home Fit in Motion. So, next slide, please. Okay. By the way, I'm Coach Tim. I'm the owner and the founder of Motion Fit PH. First and foremost, gusto ko magpasalamat sa Carewell, sa lahat ng admin na nag-invite sa amin. It's a privilege and also an honor for us to share our insights, our knowledge when it comes to our health and fitness program and our specialization in exercise. So maraming salamat again sa lahat ng punta rito, sa mga guests natin and sa mga pumuntang participants. I hope you will move and enjoy our program later. So by the way, I'm a health and fitness professional. I'm a you're welcome po. I'm a registered nurse before. I worked for 3 years din sa hospital, but I shifted to another profession because I guess it's my ikigai, it's my calling, the maging conditioning coach. I studied my postgraduate in UP Diliman. Pero before that, I work as an OR nurse for 3 years, pero sabi ko, ito talaga siguro yung ang path ko kasi ito yung nagpapasaya sa akin eh. I think hindi ako mabubuhay ng walang fitness, walang exercise, walang sports. So, I took up my graduate studies in UP and I'm currently taking up my master's degree in UP Diliman as well. So, I'm also a post-operative rehab specialist and also 14 years na rin sa fitness industry. So, medyo matagal-tagal na rin po. I'm 34 years old. Yan. Oh, next slide, please, admin. So, ayan na nga po, mga coach ko. Gusto ko pakilala kayo lahat. Guys, Coach Pike, please introduce yourself first.
Hi ma'am, sir. Good afternoon po. I'm Aldrich Tigdaw, ang physical therapy po nila. And also in the future, osteopath na rin po. Pain management, ayan ang specialize natin. At the same time, coaching na rin po ako ma'am. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Pikey. Next, Coach Jaira, one of my senior coach in Motion Fit. Welcome.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon, guys, and thank you for having us here sa event na to. No? By the way, I'm Coach Jaira Laos. No? I'm graduate by PE. I'm a teacher before, but same as Coach Tim, nag-jump ako into fitness kasi I like to move talaga. And then at the same time, again, I would like to thank you guys, lalo na dun sa mga survivor. Thank God and God bless you all. And I hope sobra kayo mag-enjoy sa gagawin namin fitness event today. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Jaira. And last but not the least, Coach JP, please welcome. Go.
Hello guys, good afternoon. By the way, my name is Coach JP. Isa po akong computer science graduate, but unfortunately, mas tinawag po ako ng calling sa passion ko sa pagsasayaw. And thank you so much po for having us here, and I hope you will enjoy our class later. Thank you so much, guys. God bless.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. So I do hope nakilala nyo na sila ng brief. Mamaya gagalaw tayo with them. No? So next slide, please, admin. Okay, so objective side is to support the fitness and wellness drive of Carewell for its community members. So ito talaga yung pinaka-advocacy ng Motion Fit. That's why we pivoted to online training because sports and fitness was impacted, but sabi ko hindi ito talaga mapitigil para mai-render namin yung service because we know that exercise and fitness is essential in order for us to improve our well-being. Okay, so next is to promote active and healthy lifestyle at home to boost immunity and manage stress better. So importanteng exercise kahit nasa bahay in order for us to prevent COVID-19, to boost our immunity and to manage our stress. And last but not the least, to kickstart the Carewell members' fitness journey through regular exercise and proper nutrition. Okay, next slide please, admin. Yan. Okay. May sinasabi pala sa akin, may nag-message, so please ask Ma'am Carina. Ma'am Carina, please join the exercise daw later. Yan. Sige, gusto ko sumayaw kayo mamaya, ma'am, ha? Okay, sige. Umpisahan natin ang activity muna. Okay, sige. Gusto ko lahat kayo, please stand up. Can you please stand up? Lahat kayo, audio on. Yan. And admin, can you switch on our music? Audio on, and video on. Okay. Okay. First. Medyo hiningal ako. It also gives us a sense of ang sarap mag-move, di ba? So because human needs to move, we tend to be in motion. Hindi tayo pwedeng nakaupo lang, hindi pwedeng naka-slouch or nakahiga lang. We need to move, especially during this pandemic. Okay, so next slide please, admin. Okay, that's why, because in COVID-19 pandemic, we know that it's very, very downtime talaga. So that's why we pivoted to online training in order for us to deliver our services to our patients and our clients during this time. Okay, next slide please, admin. Yeah, that's why we bring our services to your home through our online services because alam naman natin lahat ngayon na ang mga gyms, mga sports industry talagang impacted, and especially yung mga patients na merong kalagayan ngayon or undergoing treatment, alam natin na importanteng physical activity pero low impact lang, and we need to focus more on endurance training. So importante pa rin para mabalance natin yung treatment ng ating mga medical professionals in order for us to speed up our recovery. Okay, so next slide please, admin. All right. So yan yung mga previous events namin na ginawa before. Yan yung mga patients, mga clients namin na we are doing in the online training and online events ng motion fit. So next slide please, admin. Yan. So can you please play the video? So hindi reason na hindi walang gym or hindi tayo pwede mag-workout dahil lang sa bahay tayo. Pwede pa rin kasi maraming paraan para mag-workout kahit na nasa bahay lang tayo. Pwede tayong gumamit ng mga bags, pwede tayong gumamit ng mga water bottles or any other implements na pwede natin gamitin. Just be creative and have a coach in order to guide and support you in your training program. Okay, can you please show the video, admin, para makita ng mga participants? Next slide, please, admin. Okay, so what are the benefits of exercise naman? Okay, so first, sa mga patients na undergoing treatment and yung mga naka-recover and mga survivors, it enables the medical team for the optimum treatment of your cancer. Kasi importante dyan, you reduce the infection, yung mga reduce yung mga side effects ng mga treatment natin. So, importante na meron tayong exercise and physical activity na ginagawa in addition to our treatment. Pangalawa, it also manage stress. Like while ago, yung pinag-usapan no, with Doc Susie, na importante yung physical activity and physical component sa well-being natin in order for us to manage stress. It also increases our muscle strength. Importante ngayon, hindi na magpaganda ng katawan, magpalaki ng bicep or kung ano man. Importante, we are functionally strong in order for us to improve our activities of daily living. Diba? Like walking, sitting, or kung may mga babies tayo, mabuhat lang natin ng tama. So, importante po na mas malakas tayo functionally. It also increases our energy level and it also improves cognitive function or the way we think. Okay, so next slide please, admin. Okay, may question ako. Sige. So yung question ko, gusto ko marinig from our patients, sa mga naka-recover na mga patients and undergoing treatment, ano-ano kaya yung exercises na pwedeng ibigay sa mga patients na may lymphoma or may cancer or mga nag-recover from treatment? Can you please chat on the box? Okay. Can you please chat, guys? I will give a free shirt sa first 3 na magta-type ng kanilang answer sa chat box. Aerobic, tama. Maria Teresa Respicio, you won a t-shirt, dry fit shirt from Aerobics. O, isa pa. Isa pa. Aerobics, tama. Tama, aerobics is tama. Ano pa po? Dancing, tama. Dancing is also correct. From Melanie Katampalan, tama po. You won also. Yoga, yan, yoga. O sige, 2 more. 2 more from Sarah De Les Reyes. And 2 more, sige. Pwede yan, mga yan. Aerobics, yoga. Jogging, yes, jogging, tama. and Zumba. Alright, so tama lahat. So yung mga nakasagot, ibibigay ko na lang po sa admin yung mga shirts nyo. So correct po lahat ng answer natin. So admin, can you please show our slides kung ano ba yung mga exercises na pwedeng gawin ng mga patients natin na undergoing treatment and yung mga naka-recover. So physical activity and exercise. Okay, sige po. Okay, unang-una, aerobic and cardiovascular exercise such as walking, light running, biking, or swimming. Or yun nga po, pwede rin mag-dancing or any other aerobic sports. Okay? So pangalawa, mobility and flexibility exercise. Importante po yan yung mga yung mga stretches natin, mobility in order for us to loosen up the tightened joints and muscle. Napaka-importante po ng mga stretches para sa mga patients natin kasi lagi po yan nasa nakahiga, low energy, nakaupo. So minsan nagta-tighten up yung back, yung mga leg muscles natin at yung mga posture natin, hindi rin siya maganda. Okay, so importante na meron tayong stretches. Pangatlo, core strengthening. We need to strengthen our core because ito po ang foundation natin. So you need to focus on strengthening that in order to decrease back pain and to improve our movement. Okay, pang-apat, functional strength training. So importante, we need to focus on our movement patterns kasi kailangan doon tayo mag-focus sa function natin like squatting, pushing, pulling, rotating, walking, running, or like just stepping up the stairs. So, importante po na magpo-focus tayo sa movement and function ng katawan natin. Okay? And last but not the least is coordination and balance exercises. Okay? So, next slide please, admin. Yan. Advantages naman ng online training, syempre unang-una, safety and security, time saving and efficient, lower cost kasi hindi na kailangan po ng gym, flexible, and yung travel time sa traffic, mababawasan na rin yun. And you can adjust on your time. And also, it's also privacy. Okay? Next slide, please, admin. Okay, so, sige, umpisahan natin to. Can you please show the slide and let's turn on the video. All of us, let's warm up and be in motion. Kumusta kayo lahat? I do hope
Pawis din
pinawisan
ba?
lahat. Okay, so you can chat in the box kung kumusta, kung nahingal sa mga patient natin na undergoing treatment. Hiningal talaga siya, si Ma'am Gina. At sa mga lahat ng participants natin ngayon, thank you so much for moving with us online. Okay, so last and final slide. Admin, please show the slide. Thank you. Okay, so after we work out and after natin gumalaw, let's cool down kasi importante na we will bring back our body to its normal state. Para after nun, meron pa rin tayong energy going to our work and going time or giving time with our family. Okay, Coach JP, please lead the final stretch. Thank you so
Let's
much.
go, guys. Stretching po tayo. Tayo po tayo and as much as possible to take Thank you so much, guys. Coach Tim, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach JP, for that great cool down. So, I do hope lahat nag-enjoy sa aming performance, sa exercise na binigay, at sa dance and boxing class na binigay ng Team Motion Fit. So, Once again, maraming salamat sa pag-invite sa buong Team Motion Fit here. And for all the registered participants, you are entitled to have a fitness voucher, free online training, health and fitness assessment with our registered fitness professionals. Just contact us in our website and Facebook page. Okay, next slide, please, admin. So, thank you. Keep on moving. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hi, Coach. Maraming salamat. And to the team, I'm still catching it. Napagod ako. Pinapanood ko kayo. Napagod ako. Nagka-count yun, di ba? Pero I was...
Yes po.
And maraming salamat to those who participated. After an exercise, gutom kayong lahat. So I know na you're going to head on to your kitchen. Pero sandali lang. If you're interested, gaya ng sabi ni Coach Team, in doing consults with our Motion Fit team, please stick around. And to those who want t-shirts, Coach Team, di ba may pinamigay ka mga t-shirt kanina?
Yes po, meron po, ma'am. Ma'am
Ilan
Angel.
nga,
Yes po.
Coach? Lima? Lima ba yun?
5 po. I have the winners po ng mga nanalo po. Thank you so much.
Sige, tapos ano na lang, let's inform them kung saan nila pwedeng makuha yung shirts nila at saka ano yung preference nila kung sa Motion Fit or sa Carewell nila kukunin.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Salamat, salamat, and thank you for sharing that beautiful energy. Parang pumuta na kami sa workout sa isang linggo. Pwede na ba yun, Coach? Okay, Coach Team, Coach
Yes.
Pat, Coach Jira, salamat, and Coach JP, they will be available to answer your questions. And to those present, you may avail of a one-on-one consult for your exercise or rehab concerns with the Motion Fit team. Again, maraming salamat sa inyo for making us move our bodies. And to those who have the consult, please indicate your name and number sa ating chat box. Moving on, I'd like to call on once again Oliver Calasanz for his closing remarks. Oliver, did you work out?
No. I was still hungover from yesterday's workout from the technical test.
Quota na yan.
Quota na ako for the week. Quota na yan. Until the next ECQ. Okay na yan. So anyway, so go another 2.5 hours. Actually, mahaba tayo, nag-extend. I guess you're just having too much fun. And then, of course, we're another 2.5 hours closer to the weekend. This past period, no, I feel were hours well spent. We learned something new. We shared some things amongst each other, the doctors, survivors, even the participants. And then we did some exercise, something some of us haven't done since March 17, 2020. More important, those 2.5 hours represent time you chose to spend productively with us at Carewell. This activity is a culmination of not just 2.5 hours, but many more hours of work and preparation by the speakers, Dr. Jaime Hilado, Ms. Susie Rojas, Dr. Carina Villegas, Coach Team Partosa, and the rest of the Motion Fit professionals. Thank you for sharing your time, knowledge, and experience. My special thanks to our moderator, Ms. Angel Jacob, who unhesitatingly accepted our invitation and patiently shared her time in meetings, in technical runs, and yes, even making cuento while we were working out some technical difficulties. And to our Carewell team, who all put in their share to ensure the success of this event. And part of that team also includes our Carewell members who, aside from participating, also encouraged their family and friends to join this event. And only no means the least, again, to our Healthcare Philippines Incorporated for supporting our effort in organizing this awareness campaign to highlight lymphoma, a lesser known disease, and keep the conversation on cancer going, particularly the value of psychosocial care, better understanding of the cancer journey from the patient's perspective, pushing for access to timely and affordable healthcare, the fulfillment, the full implementation of the National Integrated Cancer Control Act, and the need to continue pushing for awareness, testing, and early detection of all types of cancer. And with that, I thank you all and have a pleasant afternoon.
Thank you very much, Oliver. The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me. And thank you to Carewell. Thank you very much once again to Takeda Healthcare Philippines. Thank you, Dr. Helado, Dr. Carina, Susie, the Motion Fit team, Gina Evangelista. Maraming salamat for being my director for today. And thank you very much to our dear guests for joining us. Once again, I'm Angel Jacob, and I send all of you a big red heart. Be safe and healthy, everyone. I'll see you again soon. Eat well, sleep tight. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was fun.
Bye, ha. See you soon, ha? Promise.
Yes. Promise.
Sige, ikaw na yung in-house host natin.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Sure. Just let me know.
Wow, so good that our live feed, because I was doing I was looking at from another device.
Okay.
Our Facebook live feed. So good. It was good.
Yeah, we had people also in the Facebook Live.
Oh,
Actually, even Kara mentioned she couldn't get in for this to the Zoom. So I suggested she try Facebook Live. No way. I guess
kasi
it's
the
okay.
capacity, the capacity of the Zoom room is 500 eh.
Oh, wow. 600 yung nag-attend. Paano?
Oo nga. Hindi, 600? Kala ko 1,000.
1,600.
Ay, oo nga pala.
Diba?
Mali yung basa ko eh.
Oo. We have, Oliver, we still have some attendees here. They might have some questions. Do you have any questions, attendees?
Sure.
Yeah, we're still here. If you're still there, we're still here.
You need our digital autographs.
You need more workouts?
I will put the Carewell website link.
Okay.
Yes.
Carewell community.
I guess it's like a party. You know, where it takes forever for people to say goodbye.
Oh, yeah. We miss attending parties na
Oh,
there's
nice.
Motion. Okay.
There, Motion Fit.
Your website. Okay, nice. Okay, yeah. And then
Also, yes, there's the for everyone who's still there attending as an attendee. Sorry, we posted there the Motion Fit website and also the Carewell community website if you're not a member yet. So please go check us out. Check out Motion Fit also. There. Thank you. Okay, that was good.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you.
Until the next event.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Take care. Yes, until the next event. I'm a text away or a call.
Bye.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you,
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.